As I get back home, it's very interesting as I've started some class with some little kids. I have their pictures and so many to post. And the environment is nice. From my village, we still live in a kind of a nice life. We farm, we work, we do certain things, we do a lot of things. And the children have been having some experience as I shared a new presentation with them. Little kids, they are very aware. They easily can tell me so many things about the environment and things they see in their dreams. They tell me a lot of things. Some of them that we are having some scary nightmares. Once they do the new it's top, and all they could tell me it's a better experience, like seeing themselves in another place that is real, as if they are working on the physical. That's how they describe it. That they can see themselves and all those dreams, people chasing them or some creatures like that. They are no longer seeing them, and they are now doing the new in my village. That's it.
How old are the kids? Which
She
age?
said, age from two to 20, including those with 20 something. I gathered a lot of children, little children. I even record one of their one when we are singing the new year with them. We
Oh,
are singing
super.
it on a video coverage. Yeah.
Is this a village from your parents?
Yes, it's a village from my parents.
And you self live in a big city, yes? Mm.
Yeah, I'm schooling in the city, but I live. My parents are in the village.
Yeah, good that you can tell the people all this, what you know right now. Wonderful.
You're coming through a little bit, Charles, but you have to just keep speaking. But it'll get louder if you just keep speaking a little faster. Yes, yes, sir. So I did hear you. Miriam's at a funeral, and yes, talking about no religion at all in Africa. Well, that makes sense. That's for the world because that's what's helping to create the demise of the planet is religion, purposely so. The birds have no religion.
I remember Kelsey said we should do some stories about ourselves, our life, our experiences, and they will be published. Then to publish them by ourselves or with some help on the lulu.com. Yeah, I think that's something that one needs to give thought to. Write some biography, see how it can help to stimulate others join to find out about their own life adventures, know something about the new presentation too. So that's something worthwhile doing. I translated what Kelsey wrote and sent to Mariam, was also disseminated the information. So let's expect that with the passage of time, people are going to come up with their personal stories. Yeah. But my own story, yes, I can say something about briefly about my earthly journey up to this point. especially as what we call a religion in quotes is concerned. Well, I was born in the Presbyterian Church, and I went to mission schools and mission secondary schools. But actually, I was never a fervent Christian. Some people think that because one is born into a Christian family or a Christian goes to Christian schools with a Christian background, that he automatically becomes very staunch. That didn't happen with me. My mind was actually very blank on the extent that it seemed I was not even attending those institutions. And one of the things that really bothered me was when one had to do some prayers. And in fact, I didn't know how to put myself together, say anything coherent about prayer. So I used to admire those praying, kind of prayer warriors like that. They would babble and talk and say many things. It seemed to be an art that some had mastered and others, like me, were very lacking. So I knew that I was disfavored in the eyes of God because I could not pray, I could not do anything. I remember when I started asking questions about this life, wanted to know more about life. I went to a retreat, and what took me to the retreat was the caption, "Come and receive your miracle." So I went to that retreat with the hopes of having some very wonderful things happening in my life. Yeah, and I went there, nothing happened. In fact, one of my most embarrassing moments was when I had to do when I had to offer some prayers, because you had to. It seems with these Christian bodies, the more you vociferate, the more you make noise and shout. And in fact, it seems it is to that degree that God answers your prayers, something like that. So I was really a failure at that, at this retreat. And I remember when I went into a room to see the very powerful men of God. I thought they were going to make some wonderful pronouncements concerning life, concerning me. But I just saw them as ordinary people who were struggling themselves. And in fact, when I left from the room, I realized that no miracle had happened. You know, my own warped idea about miracles that was going to come from the outside. So I left from there. I had not received any miracle. So when I left the retreat, I went back went back home. I started thinking. I said, but all this talk about miracle, what is it? I went there. I didn't have any miracles. Nor did I even see others there have anything. So what was all the noise about? See, so it's from that day I started having a second thoughts about going to religious gatherings with the hopes of coming out with some spectacular happenings in one's life and all the like. So it was really an eye-opener for me that miracles don't happen easily. And my attention was being drawn by the prayer warriors or anything, that I had to do it myself. Because I had to make the pronouncements, shout, concoct words and all the like. And then finally, when I joined the operation for some time, well, they said there were no prayers. It was not a church. We only had to sing the new song, the hymn, and let things be, and all the like. But my idea about actually one's relationship with the beyond, or whatever, was not really matured until I met the NuPresentation. And NuPresentation has taught me that, in fact, prayer is to oneself. It's not even necessary. And all you have to do is to be established in the is. Life is an isness, and you have to actually do everything yourself, because you are the all-is in a sense. So expecting things from the outside is actually wrong. It's actually counterproductive in the religions and other parts of their ilk. So that is, in brief, what I can say about a life story concerning if you has to put into the framework of anything religious or spiritual or whatever we're doing. So that is my little contribution for today. For that is not enlarged. In fact, if I have to do it big, maybe it would be different. This is just a synopsis.
Yes, that came in good. Thank you. Yes. Yes, we're just here to make sense of things. It's just that simple. It's not rocket science, but we know what is purposely done here. So, yeah, we're just doing what we can. And yes, religion and all these things, they sound good, but they've infected everything. It's really kind of sad, and it's been a long, long time. And we really do not need these things. We just need to make sense of things. And yeah, it's a time to wake up. But it's a heck of a challenge here because, yeah, there's the world controllers don't want people to wake up. That's very real. They have their own agenda, and they're going to keep at it. So we just do what we can. It's very, very important. Yeah, there are no careers here. There's no, you might say tomorrow, because again, it's there's already a decided agenda here. And religion, politics, religion is a part of it, and everyone else is following suit too. So they just, yeah, so there's a few of us. Yeah, anyhow, the projects are very important. To have a focus on that. Suggest people get involved as much as they can, because it's just very real what is happening in this matrix here as it is collapsing, and it is collapsing because it's very decided upon. Huge subliminal control, which I've said many, many times. and little at a time, it's etching its way there. So, the real guys stand real with us and become more so, but people have free will, so they really need to take a look at things.
Yeah, Duane, you said there's a lot of well going on. Uh, does it seem like this control is only apparent to us, or is it that we are taking ourselves too seriously? Because if you ask some of these people uh, who are in the adjuncts of the authoritarians, you tell them this is what they are doing, and they would all claim ignorance, and in fact they would don a code of innocence and tell you that it has never been their intention to do anything of the sort. But then we look at them as restrictive, authoritative, and in fact destructive. But they look at themselves in another light. So what I doubt, what I conclude is that maybe taking ourselves too seriously, or something of the sort. What do you say about this?
Okay, the idea here is that are we taking ourselves too seriously? Huh. Well, realistically, we're not even close yet. Uh, it's not about being serious, but when you use that idea, I understand what you're saying. I really do, and that is that uh, it's like the environment, planting trees and whatever, or just anything. It's like, oh, gee, are you sure you want to do that? Wouldn't you rather, be going to college and have a great job for the future or something like that? Well, let's see here. The entire world is poisoned, okay? That's a matter of fact. I would say that there's probably not a square inch on the planet that you cannot find poison. And so would it be that we're taking ourselves too seriously? Yeah, that's ridiculous. We're not even close yet. We're not even close to being serious. So, and that's not our purpose, to being serious. Our purpose is to make sense of things and being real. And just like the birds that are flying around and the animals, again, they don't do what people do. And so what is being done every day, just by people starting their cars, which is very common, it's ridiculous. Yes. Yeah, we're not even close yet. So the thing is that we're like little kids pulling on our mother's skirt, trying to get her attention, or she's talking to somebody else, just blah, 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 could care less about the little people, etc. And so again, no, not at all, Charles. We're not even close. This world is ridiculous. It's not funny, it's not crazy, it's ridiculous. It's beyond the Richter scale of what is taking place. And even if it were to stop what it's doing now, just completely stop. No cars, no chemtrails, no Wi-Fi, no GMO, no nothing. It just all stops right now. It will still deteriorate. Can you stop fruit from rotting? No. And the reality is that it's not stopping. It's tremendous, the effects that are taking place and just being added to the atmosphere and everything. The atmosphere alone, the air we breathe. It's full of nanotechnology. Just because people can't see it, yeah, they can't see it. So they just pretend. It's more easy to pretend it's not there, but no, we are beyond ridiculous here. We're not even close to serious. Yeah, we haven't even gotten close there yet. We're just trying to make sense of things. And so I do not hold back from telling people adamantly about certain things because, again, this world is nuts. I mean, it's just plain nuts. And if people want to play the role that everything's okay, well, go ahead and play the role. The end result is that role is not going to last long. It's not going to last long at all. Everything looks good while the performance goes on. But the day comes when it's no longer there, and the individual is locked into an unconscious position, as they are now. But even more so because the effects show up. It's just like a person can have supposedly a healthy looking body and it looks fine, but you don't know what's going on inside. Everybody has cancers. I doubt if there's anybody that doesn't. And the young people, they're getting vaccines all the time, most of them, so many of them, especially here and in other countries, many countries. Those that don't, they're fortunate, but still, there's nanotechnology everywhere. So, yeah, that's a big question, Charles. And I would say act like an adult and wake up. I don't pretend that this is not happening. So either I am indifferent to people, and if they just want to play this game, I let them play the game, okay? But other than that, just like they are doing, in other words, they have the right to, continually unconsciously destroy the place, and they laugh and giggle about it and do their stuff, whatever, eat their GMO food, that's fine. But at the same time, if I want to speak up, but I don't go after people. I see who will show up. So it's very, it's not easy for us to be here in this environment. But at the same time, what is taking place is a wake up. So no, these ideas, and especially the establishment, is always going to come at us. You might say, we'll just use the word us, with their ideas like that. Oh, it's like, oh, are you taking things, you seem to be taking things very seriously. Well, that's really kind of in a way a psychotic question from a person that doesn't know what they're saying, number one, and number two, usually they're people in control, and they're psychotic, and that is that what they're really saying is that why aren't you agreeing to all the poisoning we're doing to you? That's what their question entails, really. Yes, why don't you just agree? Because it's okay, everyone else is agreeing. Look at everybody else out there. They're all agreeing to being poisoned, and they're fine with it. Why don't you be fine with it too? You see? That's what they're really saying when they say, are you taking all this too seriously? Well, if they want to be nuts, let them be nuts. The thing being is that, no, I'll say and do what I do, and until whatever, simply because it will all catch up with them too. And they will laugh to the grave, you might say. Many of these people, they do. They will laugh to the grave. But the effects will show up. They have their few moments. Yeah, we see them. They have their few moments, and then they won't. And then they will be returning more unconscious in the effects that they've created from their causes. That's real. This is how real it gets. And so we've spent so many lifetimes unconsciously to where we are awake now. This awakening for ourselves, this wake up, is very precious. And especially to get through all the the fallacy of ideas that have been created to suppress us. Yeah, take the risk. I always take the risk. I do not agree. I'm very adamant at being indifferent. And that is that I'm not arrogant about it, but I am adamant to where I will say what I say. And I suggest everybody step up in their own way, because otherwise you have no life. If you think just agreeing to the system without being creative with it, because this is a system of demise. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if it's college, a job, or whatever. You're agreeing to a system of demise. And, your decision altogether. All the boys can do is relate this and provide the awareness. But it's, life itself providing the awareness, but it's up to you to, activate that or not, because the agreement is very subtle. So us taking it serious, no, we're not there. We don't take things serious. We're just very real. We make sense of things. And so, but this challenge is going to continue on, and those people that control the situations here, they're going to keep playing this game, because they think in their minds that because they're bought off and they have a good lifestyle, whatever it is, that they are secure with that. And actually, they have no security. It's fake. It's all fake. But again, it is their reality until it no longer exists. And there will be a time when it doesn't. Yeah. Just like in the movies where, the so-called bad guys are, they're ruling for a while, but at a certain point, it comes, because it's all cause and effect. And this is what people forget. It's like they feel that their personal will dominates the reality of cause and effect in creation, where it doesn't. So in other words, it's learning to recognize how cause and effect works according to the whole of life. So there's always going to be an effect there with the individual until they wake up to the true reality. And you might say, recognize that. And so with that recognition, all right, then they surpass karma itself. They surpass the cause and effect. But until then, they will be the unconscious effect of it. So that's what they don't see right away. So for us that are more aware, yes, it's a challenge, and it's being patient, etc. And in the meantime, there is time for people to have the advantage to wake up or not. And that's it, because life is about waking up, becoming more aware. So these issues, okay, again, the establishment is always going to create these red flags and issues and questions. They're always going to question. They're always going to create some kind of question. Life is not to be questioned. Again, the question of, are we taking ourselves too serious? Well, life doesn't question us. It's like the sun shining. There's no questions. There's no beliefs. There's no this or that. It's an isness to be recognized. And so what we're presenting to the world, yes, it would seem extreme, but it makes sense. Just like the sun shining. Does the sun shining make sense? It does. And that's us. So we don't have to be at the mercy of answering nonsense from people that don't know what they're asking. Yes, Charles. Thank you for asking.